I am Jacob Wurtz,
And I am Jacob Gabel.
and this is the Untapped Podcast.
Let's go.
What's going on, dude?
Day 1, 75 hard.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, exciting. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
You know, last time for me was ended in June 2022. So, again, like we always tell, like you should be able to go off the program and whatnot, but it feels good being on it. It does.
I'm sure it does.
It feels good being dialed in. Like Mitch and I got after it early this morning, so it felt good to start the day right. And
Yeah, there you go, dude. Yeah. I know I'm probably going to be right behind you guys, honestly. Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
But anyway, guys, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. Today we have Season 2, Episode 24, Kobe episode.
The Kobe episode.
Last one was the Michael Jordan episode. This one's the Kobe one.
Rep.
Guys, if this is your first time listening to the Untapped Podcast, first of all, welcome. We're happy to have you here. We are glad you are picking us to listen to while you're working out. Maybe you're in the car, whatever it is. But if this is your first time listening, we actually have 5 different formats for our show. First, we have EX Fit. Okay, so you've got 2 certified personal trainers here. EX Fit episodes encompass everything to do with fitness. We talk about the gym, workouts, diet, nutrition, what we like to do for outdoor workouts, that sort of thing. Next, we have EXMind, which is actually what we're going with today. EXMind covers everything to do on the mental side of things. Okay, we are not trained professionals in the psychology world or the mental health world, but we talk a lot about our anecdotal experiences. We also cover a lot about mindset, and that's more so what today's going to be about. Next, we have EX Gentlemen. EX Gentlemen episodes are awesome. This is where we cover everything to do about masculinity, becoming a strong man, being a strong male presence for yourself, but also for those around you.
Yeah. And our last 2 guys, we have our EX Current episodes. EX Current episodes, all that is current articles, stuff going on in our world right now. That was actually our last full-length episode as well. Phenomenal episode, really fun episode too. And then those, again, we also can touch on, how history connects to our current times. And again, we're not political analysts, but we like to call out, garbage stuff when we see it.
Yeah, for sure.
We think it's important to talk about that stuff.
Absolutely.
And our final format is our EX guest, which Mr. Jordan Shatley was our last guest. Phenomenal episode, Season 2, Episode 22, for those of you who want to go listen to that. That one was awesome. Again, it's just an interview, sit-down type of style. We bring in an entrepreneur, or a fitness professional, somebody that is basically here to bring you value. And we sit down and talk with them.
Right.
And our final little thing to touch on, we do have a producer.
Yes, we do. Mitch.
My brother, Mitchell Gabel.
What's going on?
There he is. Mitch does a lot of good work for us, guys. And at the end of all of our episodes, he actually will give us a Q&A question from you guys, the listeners or the viewers. And those questions typically fit into one of those categories we just went over. So he also does that for us. But guys, again, today for Season 2, Episode 24, we are going with an EXMind episode. And so you see a lot of things, especially when the year flips, okay? And everyone, this is what I'm going to do this year. I have big goals, big dreams this year. I'm going to become successful this year. Yeah. And I hope that's true, honestly. I hope that's true for you. I hope you put the work in and do all that. We also have big plans for the new year. But it's funny. You always see on like TikTok or like Instagram Reels these cut up videos of people partying and drinking and vaping and jewels, and we all know that crowd, okay? And essentially living meaninglessly, not
just for the quick pleasures.
Exactly, yes. And that kind of almost is what we talked about in that chasing your purpose episode as well that we had back in Season 2, Episode 21. There you go. This guy just remembers all the numbers.
Don't know why, but I do. Yeah.
But, chasing girls and things of that sort as well. And then it'll cut to, or it'll say, that's what they're doing. Or them. And then it'll cut to a video of people just getting after it, working for success, working for a legacy that they are trying to create, a long-lasting legacy. You see the success. So you see the houses and the cars and the fun, expensive material things that you can
the life filled with freedom.
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect way to say it. And you go through the comments of these things, and there are tons of people that are, well, you can be both. You can be both. You can party and be successful. There might be a little bit of truth to that, okay? When you become successful, absolutely, you have the financial freedom to maybe go to some insane parties or go to insane places.
VIP tables, that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So maybe a little bit of truth to the you can do both. But the way those people mean it, absolutely not.
Yeah. That's my problem with it and the phrasing with it, because they say you can do both. What they really mean is like, I'm going to slack off and do the one when it's just partying, only partying.
Right.
That's what they really mean. Because in reality, the people that can party and have a bunch of fun, meaningless pleasures, can do all that stuff and they can work hard and make a lot of money, they tend to be a pretty rare breed.
Right.
Because that stuff tends to sap your motivation.
Absolutely.
Put simply.
Sure.
Like it saps your life force, all that stuff. And so it's a very rare breed that you can go to, VIP bottles 3 days a weekend or whatever, and then still make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month or, millions of dollars a year, that type of stuff.
Right.
So it leaves a bad connotation because these people really realistically are like, well, but, I still want to feel successful. So I'm going to say I can do both.
Exactly.
When in reality, you're not doing the little things that are also going to lead you to that success that, maybe like a Nelk Boys would be a good example of this.
Sure.
I mean, from what I can tell, like the guy who runs Nelk, Kyle, he works his ass off.
Right.
While also partying.
Sure.
So it's one of those things.
Steve's another one.
Steve's another example of that. Yeah. And the thing is, like, you hear these guys, the way they're talked about, their drive is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So they have that drive and they get after it. But the problem is that people see them also partying and assume, oh yeah, so I can just party and still make a bunch of money.
Right.
When in reality, they're not understanding that drive and that effort they also put into their actual, career is what the real thing they should be looking at.
No, 100%, because that's where the real dopamine is going to be found, and like just it's gonna feel meaningful. It's gonna feel fulfilling.
Yep.
And purposeful, and kind of like you just said, when you're on that side of just only focusing on the partying aspect or thinking that you're doing both because maybe you made a few extra bucks this month or whatever it is, like you're not actually living.
Yep.
You're not actually living. You're living for the party. You're living for the weekend. And guys, I will say, like, we like to party at times too, but like
it can be fun. Yeah.
We both went to one in downtown St. Louis around Christmas time, and it was a great time. We had a great time.
It was a really good time.
But we also use that as an opportunity to connect with a lot of people. That's how we confirmed Jordan coming on our show and our next hopeful guest as well, and we got to connect with people we hadn't seen in a long time. We also get to meet new people. So we almost used it as a business venture in a way, and we still had plenty of fun that night. We truly did, so it's not like we don't ever drink. We don't ever go out and party and stuff like that, but it's not what we live for. And that's not what our goal is, And our goal is all of those other things that I said, the working for the success and the legacy and being free, like you said. I thought that was a perfect way for you to put it, financially, mentally, all of it, living to be free in that sense, because that's the thing that actually matters.
Yeah. And, I think you're making a good distinction here because, like, are the materialistic things, can they be a good driver? I feel like.
Absolutely.
I mean, I 100% imagine myself in a large house and whatnot with, a big gun room and whatnot. We even talked about the other day, all types of stuff there, and all that stuff. We visualize that, and that's a good driver.
And we literally go to houses and neighborhoods so we can
purposely
physically feel it and see it.
100%. So absolutely, do material things drive and whatnot. But my first thought isn't just, I'm going to make a lot of money so I can buy a VIP bottles table.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. That's not the reasoning for it.
No.
Because, in reality, if that was, like, we wouldn't be helping many people.
Right.
Like, the whole idea of this podcast especially, like, that's the best example right now, and our brand is to actually be able to help people, improve their lives. And just focusing on the VIP bottles and the cars, the women and whatnot that might come along with that, that's not going to help somebody actually be satisfied with their life.
No, not at all. We're not going to be fulfilled from that. And like you just said, we're not going to be helping people because that's where the real fulfillment is changing other people's lives, especially in the realm of the world that we are in our jobs right now, but also in what we're trying to create with Untapped and Extrication. You're exactly right. That's the way we get fulfilled is by changing lives,
And so talking about that party too, one thing I wanted to even hit on as well is like, guys, we were hanging around people that were a very similar energy to us.
Absolutely.
I mean, most of the conversation was about success while we were at a bar.
Yeah,
so like
that's right.
I mean, pretty much almost all the conversation, other than talking with Michael Schrader of S2 about hockey and whatnot. Of course, him and I always get on that topic. But, that is most of what we talked about. So we're also feeding off these people. You going out with your loser friends on the weekends isn't you doing both.
Right.
That's just you getting your energy drained for the next day, and then the next day after that, and then your weeks can be shit because of it too.
Absolutely.
Because Wurtz and I don't wake up that Sunday after or whatnot and be like, man, that was brutal. That was a waste of time. Right. In reality, it's like, oh, we just made a lot of connections and we made a lot of good new friends who are also going to help us grow and help change other people's lives as well.
Yeah, and we've already seen the support from that.
Absolutely.
And the continued support, the legitimate support too, which has been awesome. And, people on the side of things that are essentially living for the weekend, living for the party, working, maybe even working for the party. Mm-hmm. They work Monday through Thursday. Like, oh, well, I put in a good week, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like I'm getting after it at the bars. We're going downtown and all this, all of that. But there's also an element of laziness there. And like this is kind of something else. This is almost like a secondary topic we wanted to talk or wanted to hit on in this podcast, guys, is paying attention to the minute details, okay? Because paying attention to the minute details is a great way to start working for the success and the legacy and all of that. Because when you start getting all the little things together, the big things are going to happen as well, And, we both have a couple stories here, and I want you to go first here, but like it's so easy to tell who does and who doesn't pay attention to those little details. It really is with simple things in the gym.
Absolutely. So, recently I've been calling myself out, guys, when it comes to those minute details, especially because, whether it comes to work and just doing the job, whether it comes to us here, I always feel like I can do more and more and more and more. And I know where those, little hit points are and whatnot. One of those was actually on New Year's Day. So as trainers, of course, we tend to work New Year's Day. It's a pretty common occurrence. A lot of times depends on where you work at, of course. Mm-hmm. But the facility I work at, I came in for a short little time on that Sunday of New Year's Day. And so, of course, like since it's a Sunday, it was a little bit of a lighter day, no matter if it's New Year's Day or not. Mm-hmm. The real week started Monday. But setting context to the story there, that New Year's Day, I come in, train a couple people. And I look around and this happens a pretty good amount. The facility tends to get, pretty messy a lot of times just because like over the weekends, like there is less people around to clean and whatnot. So it tends to, deteriorate, so to speak, in cleanliness.
Yeah.
But I looked around on this particular Sunday on New Year's Day and it was a mess. It was a butcher shop in there. And I'm talking weights everywhere, bands everywhere, like little, what's called Clorox rags everywhere and whatnot that people just wipe down their machine or their bench.
And just leave it?
Yeah. And I'm talking everywhere, dude.
Good Lord.
So I made it my mission after that to go and clean the entire gym at this time because and it took me, 45 minutes or something like that, but it really didn't feel like that because the place looked awesome after. And that's very satisfying to me.
Absolutely.
That's why I told a lot of the people I work with as well, including my managers there, like I actually enjoy the cleaning aspect. Like when we have like a quick 30-minute break during the middle of the day, during the week where we go and clean as all the trainers and whatnot. Just because I think that's a very good habit to get into and it makes the gym look good.
Yeah.
But so I usually on the weekends, there's not that big crew there. So we usually don't have that cleaning. But I was like, okay, this place looks like crap. Bunch of people are going to be here tomorrow because it's like the actual, New Year's Day on January 2nd or whatever on Monday. So I went around and I organized everything back in place. Awesome. Cool. And I felt good about that. But I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, why in the world does it look like this? One, I come back Monday and it is almost as bad, if not as bad as it was on Sunday on that Monday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this possible? First of all, like how does it look like this much of a mess right now that people are just this lazy after you see everything cleaned up, put in a good area, that you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to throw this band here. I'm just going to throw this rag here. I'm going to just put this weight in the wrong position, even though I got it out to do the lift.
I was just about to say, because that people notice, like, wow, it looks good in here.
Yep.
All the weights are where they're supposed to be. 100%. All the dumbbells are where they're supposed to be.
Unless you're just like an airhead when you come into the gym and just ignore every little detail.
There are some of those, too.
There are some of those, yeah, definitely. It frustrated me. So we were doing our 30-minute clean in the middle of the day as trainers, of course, and I'm going around and I'm kind of like almost in a foul mood from this because I see all these, like, especially like when at the facility I'm at, like a lot of college kids come back home during winter break and they're just basically trashing the place, like leaving everything. They're like they get out done on a calf raise and they're doing 2 plates. By the way, that's too much goddamn weight to put on a calf raise. Take your time and go slow in a calf raise, please.
Yeah.
And they'll just leave those 2 plates on there. You know, what if a 75-year-old lady comes up? What is she going to do there?
Exactly.
She's not doing calf raise that day, that's for sure.
Which could definitely happen at your facility too.
Absolutely.
Like you definitely have that age
there's
range.
There's a big demographic change at my place, 100%.
Yeah.
And I come up and it's a mess. And these kids are leaving everywhere. And I'm just like fuming as I continue to clean the place up the same way it was before. And then later in the week, actually, I'm by the calf raise again, because the calf raise is like a good example of this, because it's like so easy to just take a plate off this thing.
Hate the calf raise.
Apparently, they just love leaving the weights on it. And so I'm what's it called? I'm over there, and I chat with the guy in the calf raise real quick, and he has like, I don't know, 45 and a 25 on or whatever, and doing calf raises. And so I circle back around, of course, like doing a last route, making sure the place is clean. And he had walked away and left those same plates on there.
No shot. Oh my gosh.
And I was like, you just saw me cleaning.
Right.
You know that you need to take that off there.
Yeah.
You know.
You know what probably went through his head? Oh, he'll get it. He'll get it.
There's our minute detail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and honestly, like at the gym I work out at, I see this too, especially around the holidays and in the summertime. Because again, what's the common denominator here? The college kids are home. And kids are lazy.
Yep.
Kids are lazy. Like you should just respect the gym in that sense. Like there's got to be a respect there. Don't just think, oh, there's people working the front desk, like they'll get this stuff. Like no, absolutely not. Wipe your machines off, especially if you are one of the sweaty dudes. Like if you're someone that just soaks the machine,
AK Wurtz and I.
soaks the bench, like wipe it down, dude. That's gross. That's how like ringworm gets spread. Literally. Yeah.
I mean, literally though.
Right.
It's gross.
It is. It's disgusting. Yes, absolutely. And you know, I even see it. Mitch is laughing over there, guys.
Yeah, well, we were right on point there.
I'm thinking of the dude perfect gym stereotypes from like 8 years ago.
Oh
yes.
Gosh.
And he wipes himself off and he like dumps a whole gallon of water on himself.
Those videos are fantastic, man. Those guys will never get old.
No, they won't.
But
they won't.
Anyway, you know, even at the facility that I work at now, you know, I deal with pretty much all kids.
Yeah.
And like, I don't let that stuff slide. Like, kids will walk away from the weights, and I will make them go back and get it. You know.
Yep.
Because will I eventually put it away if it needs to be put away? Yes. Because I don't just leave stuff around. That's not how I do things. The previous person that I worked for, like he didn't care. So every day I'd walk in, whether it was in the morning or in the afternoon, and the place was a mess, and there'd be no kids around. And it's like, dude, how do you not care about this? So once some things change around, like we don't let that stuff slide now. Those of us that are still there, you know. And now if you've got 3-4 plates aside on a hip thrust bar or on a trap bar, and you ask me for help, hey Jay, could you help me take all this off? Absolutely, dude.
It's that simple.
Absolutely, I would love to help you out, because I know, you know, when you throw a lot of weight around like what I do, it takes a second.
Not a big deal.
It takes a second to get all the weight off. Like I get that, you know. But it's just never been in my mind to just leave stuff around, like leave a random dumbbell out, or
leave a bench dirty.
Leave a bench dirty. Leave attachments on the cables.
Yep.
And stuff like that. Like that's things that a lot of people don't think about.
Everybody just thinks the cable machines are just for you just leave your attachments around it.
Like, bro, take the rope off, put it back.
You see that tree? You see that tree right there? You see that tree right there next to it?
It's no more than probably 10 feet away usually.
Yeah, and at your gym that you work out, it's like 5 feet away.
Yeah, right.
At most.
You could probably touch the cable and touch the tree with your arms.
The point is, it's simple.
Simple.
It's such a simple action.
That is the overall point, and also with where I train people. Again, these are all kids, so I'm trying to like set that precedent in them. Like, listen, pick up your weights, and it's going to translate to when we're out on the baseball field. Pick up the baseballs. Pick up your bat. Don't leave your glove. Treat that stuff with respect.
Yep.
Treat this gym with respect. Like, it's not hard to do it. It just isn't hard. So it's not hard to pay attention to the minute details. And once you start to do that, you're going to figure out how many things that you were actually letting go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that trash in your car that's building up, just throw it away. Throw it away. When you go inside, just take it with you.
Yep.
Those tissues you're leaving around, the trash, the crumbs you leave on the table, that's probably my worst one, because I can definitely be a messy eater at times. My family knows that. The dogs always sit around my chair because they know there's going to be crumbs for them.
It's like, oh, it's game time.
Yeah,
yep.
exactly.
It's chow time.
Yeah, right. Snack time. But it's just Like it's such a simple thing.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and it leads to big things too as well. And guys, we're not saying that if you put your plates back after you're done with them on a machine or whatnot, are you gonna make $1 million the next day? That's not what we're saying. No.
Right.
But in reality, guys, every time that I go and clean up an area and whatnot, and I actually like pick up after stuff, it's the same thing. Like if I'm in the bathroom at like any place and there's just towels lying around on the ground or whatever, or like reusable or not reusable. You know, like
Paper towels
on the ground. Yeah. I will literally take 2 other paper towels and go and pick up those and put them in the trash can.
Me too.
Because it's like it's simple. And guess what? I'm always in a better mood whenever I do that stuff.
Absolutely.
It's that simple.
You got better because of that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you put yourself in a better position, one, because then if you're thinking about that type of stuff, those little paper towels on the ground, those, again, those bench wipes and whatnot, and you're picking those up. If you're thinking about that stuff, what else are you not going to miss now?
Exactly.
That's the biggest key right there with it.
So directly, putting your plates away directly, is it going to make you $1 million? No. But down the road, it could.
Yep.
It could.
Maybe.
Because of exactly what you just said. Like, what other little things are you no longer going to let slide?
Yep. And guess what? Later down the road, your house is going to be absolutely
100%.
Spick, span, you name it.
Right.
Everything. It's going to be clean as a whistle. And then you're going to start maybe vacuuming your car out more, the mats in your car. Maybe those are a little bit messy and whatnot. Yeah. Or maybe you left some water bottles in your car and whatnot. You start recycling those a little bit now. You know? Maybe that's a good example of it. But then your space around you are cleaner. So one, you are a more respectable human because you're a cleaner human now at minimum.
Right.
But also your mindset is just more detail oriented.
Absolutely.
It's such a like. It sounds so simple, guys, too. I mean, and honestly, it really is. But for me, like those little things, like if I get off track with them, if I'm lazy and I don't put my dishes in the dishwasher that day or whatnot, it's not as dialed in of a day as it could be for me. It's noticeable in like my day to day. Because again, like we're not saying like Wurtz and I aren't speaking from experience of like, oh yeah, 20 years ago I picked up a paper towel, now I'm rich. It's like that's not where our experience is coming from.
That's a good book title though, or something right there.
It kind of is actually. I said that I was like, that's smooth, nice. But yeah, sometimes we can be proud of ourselves, guys. Okay. But I mean, day to day, it is absolutely noticeable.
100%.
And honestly, it's also like when it comes to fitness for us, it is phenomenally noticeable because every one of our workouts, because we're very like nitpicky and smart about our details we do during the workout, it is a smooth workout. Like Mitch and I, one example, when we go to the outdoor gym that you guys probably see on if you watch my stories and whatnot, whenever we go there, there'll be battle ropes on some rocks over by a pull-up bar.
Oh yeah.
And people will do the battle ropes and the rocks will get sprayed all over the turf.
Yep.
No matter if Mitch and I made the mess, whatever, we go over there every single workout and kick those rocks, back into the gravel area. And guess what? We are more focused during our workout because of that.
Absolutely.
We are the ones in there like, next thing, okay, move on.
Yeah.
Check the weight. We just did 90 pounds here, whatever, we're moving on to the next thing.
Right.
Et cetera.
And it's not like we're wasting any time.
No.
It will be between a set. Oh, you got 60 seconds rest between a set. Just
kick the rocks in.
Go kick the rocks.
The time I've been there with you too, like we literally did that also, kicking the rocks in. Yeah, absolutely. It's little things like that. It's a perfect
and guys,
example.
that's where this relates to that you can be both because here's the problem. Those people in the comments that we were talking about earlier and them saying you can be both though. You can be both. You can do this. I can go out with my loser friends and still be successful and whatnot. I say loser friends for a reason because I know the experience.
Right.
And so the way it relates is because if you're talking about you can be both, you're also not cleaning up after yourself. You probably have a dirty ass car.
Yeah.
You probably don't pick up crumbs on the table and whatnot after you. You probably miss or like your bed looks like somebody, dropped an atomic bomb on it or something like that. Dropped Hiroshima on it out here. So
that'd be crazy if
it add up.
That'd be crazy if that bomb only hit your bed. If you think about it,
It's a strong bed.
I was waiting for a stupid comment there. Damn it. That's funny. But I mean, yeah, it really does relate because if you're making those excuses of the you can be both then, like sure, like can you be both? But why is that your main focus?
Yeah, exactly.
Your main focus should be detail oriented and get to that point.
Right.
Okay, now when you're making that hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, go and have a bottle section.
Sure.
Spend $1,000 on a VIP section, whatever.
Right.
At that point in time. But it shouldn't be your main concern.
Right. It's a lazy mindset. Is what you're saying there.
It's an easy out mindset is what
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yes. It is trying to comfort yourself for not trying to become successful. I can do both. That's just essentially what you're trying to do there.
Yeah.
Because
I'm pretty sure honestly like that at least from even with the like Nelk Boys, which they made their whole thing off partying and whatnot. Like that's their
They're
thing.
definitely
Yeah.
an odd example for
Yeah.
it, but it works
But
still.
but again, like
Brad Martin would be a good one though.
he would.
Like
yeah,
like
he would.
Look at what he's built. Look at what he continues to build. Look at his story.
Yep.
You know, he very easily could have gotten into drug addiction, stuff like that, because of his past and
Yeah.
whatnot. And look at what he's built, and he likes to enjoy himself now.
Yep.
You know,
And guess what he doesn't do? He doesn't say you can do both.
exactly.
And it's so interesting because like the Nelk Boys have been around like for like 10 to 15 years. Brad has been around for, I don't know, 15 to 20 around that time.
Something like
probably
that, yeah.
10, maybe 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Both of them, if you look back at their backstories, guys, like a good example of this is that when they were coming up, I mean, Kyle and Jesse with the Nelk Boys and were grinding videos every single day, prank videos. And that's all they did. Like it's not like they had the cash to just go and party at that point in time. They probably
Right.
could have, but they would have been bankrupt at that point in time. They would have done
Right.
that type of stuff.
Yep.
And then in Brad's case, like, could he have partied probably when he was like first, he started popping off Instagram? Sure. But now, 10 years later, after he's been popping off 10 years later, he's now, showing that relaxed side and whatnot.
Sure.
Getting
sure.
to go out a little bit in LA.
Going
or
to
something like that.
UFC,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
hanging out with the Nelk Boys and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
It's a noticeable progression of what these men have made.
Right.
It's not like they were, again, 20 years ago when they first started out or 10 years ago when they first started out. It's not like they were just saying you can do both.
Right.
You can do both. Like assuaging themselves of these concerns and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that wasn't their main focus.
Yeah. No,
It just
100%. Guys, it's not possible to be both. It just isn't. It's just not possible to be both in that sense, in the sense that we're talking about.
Yep.
So don't give yourself that easy out, And again, I believe that's
Just don't talk like that.
yeah, exactly. I don't get that either.
It's
but
annoying. Like you're annoying in the comments anyways.
It is
I don't
annoying.
think you understand that
yeah,
either.
absolutely. Well, guys, that is kind of everything for the you can be both portion of the episode here, the EXMind portion of the episode. And like I mentioned at the beginning, at the end of all of our episodes, Mitch asks us a Q&A question that was submitted by you guys, the listeners. So, Mitch, do your thing.
Let's do it. All right. What are some good general recommendations for resisting cravings? So it doesn't have to be like food.
Mm-hmm.
It could be sexual cravings. It could be food if you really want to go that. Cravings to, skip the gym that day. What are some good general recommendations to maybe push those cravings down or eliminate them entirely?
Yeah,
I think that's a great question.
I think it's a really good question. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love like any type of like stuff like how to like set yourself in a scenario of like to avoid these type of like negative things for your life. I love these type of questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, like when it comes to sexual cravings, like that's one I guess I'll touch on first. The scary one. Those you that are men are listening. I mean, I'm sure that a good portion of you have struggled with pornography at some sort, or struggled with desiring women pretty heavily of some sort, and I can attest to that myself. When it comes to sexual cravings, the easiest way I've found to assuage that or avoid those cravings is to put myself in a very busy mindset. In the way of like not like just busy work, like I'm up my feet 24/7 all day long, but I have stuff to do.
Yeah.
And one of those that has been really helpful recently, I just got that planner and you got that planner too. Now starting to write things down, it's starting to feel real. Okay, like this is like stuff I'm actually doing. I have written down. Like what? Like am I just going to write it down and just not do it?
True.
That would be bullshit.
Did we? Let's see. We talked about something similar to that either in our last bonus
In the
episode
last
or
bonus
in
episode.
23.
It was similar. Yeah.
I think it was in the bonus.
It was in the
At
bonus.
some
Yeah, it was
point,
very similar.
we kind of talked about that. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's for me when it comes to sexual cravings too. It's like, of course, like when it comes for me, I always come back to my faith because it's like, wow, like you sat here and just did this and watched pornography, and now what? Like sweet. Like I always try to think back is that feeling after, and we know what after means, but I would hope so at least. But we all like I always come back to like, what do I really want to feel? What I felt last time after?
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been working really well for me lately. I've been on I can thankfully say like I've been on a really good like stretch with that. And that's been really satisfying. I'm sure again, of course women have, I'm sure like they struggle with addiction to pornography and sexual cravings and whatnot like that too. But of course, like as a man, like I would mostly be addressing this to men. And then when it comes to, food cravings or other like just kind of like lazy cravings and whatnot, one of those is just like for me getting on my iPad and whatnot and watching a show or something like that. That's a big craving for me when it comes to like just laziness and whatnot. It's the same thing. Like I we talked about being a man of our word in the bonus episode. That's probably what it was, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That is like, it relates really well to that because I focus back on like, okay, I promised myself in my planner I would do this today. Like, this is the thing I would be doing at this time of day, like noon or whatever, or 2 o'clock. I didn't promise myself I'd be on HBO Max.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So either I can fail at my word and feel like dog shit after, or I can follow through on my word and feel awesome after long term. So yeah.
I think as far as any cravings is change your environment. Change your environment. Whether you're dealing with like bored eating, bored hunger, change your environment. Go outside. Go outside, you know. If it's sexual cravings, get yourself out of that environment that's causing you to feel that way, you know. So I think that could almost be, and maybe it doesn't fit into every single situation, but I think that could be a pretty close to a universal solution to almost any craving, is just change your environment.
Yeah.
Change what you're looking at, change what you're listening to, change what you hear in the background, you know? So again, I think going outside is a great way. You know, you don't have to go on a full-blown ruck or anything like that, but you know, maybe walk down the street, you know, hear the birds, hear the wind for just a few minutes.
Stand in the rain, even if it's raining outside.
Yeah,
that, honestly, that sometimes can be very helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or even just sit outside in the rain. You know, like you don't have to be getting wet, is my point.
Yeah,
you know,
you can be on
sit out
an
your
overhang or
porch.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's definitely something I do. 100% that's something I do. And sometimes it works better than others. And, you know, that happens. But I would just say change your environment. I really do. I think that can work for a lot of things.
I think it's money.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
You know, and with change your environment too, like the last thing I'll hit on with that, I think that could also be on your digital environment too. Because I mean, if you're social media, you're seeing, you know, butts, bikinis, etc., whatever.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Naturally, it's going to lead you to that sexual craving.
Right.
If you're seeing, you know, partying videos and whatnot, naturally, it's going to lead you down the wrong path.
Exactly.
But if you're seeing business advice, if you're seeing people getting after it in the gym, it's probably going to lead you to the right environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And that's the great thing about like TikTok and Instagram Reels specifically, and Twitter now kind of as well. You can kind of curate your algorithm.
Yep.
So you're exactly right. If you like stop liking those types of videos and stop watching the whole video of those things, like you're going to see those less and less. You know, and you start liking more success-based or more business-based or more gym-based type of content, like that's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the cool thing about those platforms and whatnot. So, guys, that is season 2, episode 24. Again, this was an EXMind episode. So, guys, if you got value out of this, which I know you did, please share the show. Please share it to your Instagram stories. Please text it to people. Talk to people about it. Just continue showing that support and spreading our name and just helping us grow, guys. It means so much to us when we see the stories and we hear people like, hey, I heard about your podcast from so-and-so. Like, that means so much. So, guys, please keep that up. Please continue submitting the questions. You can submit those to our email, which is extricationfitness@gmail.com, or you can DM them to us on Instagram @extricationfitness. You can also hit a button on their email, and then if you want to email it in, you can do that as well. Especially if you would want it to be anonymous or something, that's also an easy way to do that.
Email's an easy way to do that.
Yeah, but either of those work. You can also send them to us individually. I am @JacobWurtz5 on Instagram.
And I'm @JGabel38. So Gabel is Gable.
There you go. So, guys, please continue showing the love and the support. Continue sharing the show and all that good stuff, okay? So, guys, until next time, peace and love.
Thanks, guys.